Welcome to another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. I'm your host, Tenny Simon. Grab your popcorn, grab your drink, grab your pills, your pen and paper. We're going to continue with the Bramble budget, and then we're going to deal with some current affairs. So get ready, get your stuff together. We'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode. So we're moving on to Vote 50, and that is the Ministry of Health Capital Expenditure by Project. Let's hear a clip from the Minister of Finance, Minister Dennis Cornwall, on Project Polaris. In case you don't know, Project Polaris is the name given to the new hospital project.
Advancing Project Polaris. Mr. Speaker, one of the most transformative initiatives on our healthcare agenda is the construction of a new state-of-the-art hospital. The hospital will be designed to offer a higher standard of care, expanded specialty services, and improved diagnostic capabilities. In 2025, we'll focus on finalizing key aspects of the design and financing with the aim of breaking ground on the Hopevale site for the first half of 2026. An amount of $23.6 million has been allocated for this project in 2025. Additionally, the Cabinet has approved the establishment of a special fund at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, into which a sum of $25 million is to be deposited as government contribution towards the overall financing of this project. Furthermore, a small percentage of all NTF receipts will be put aside monthly, commencing June 2025, and finalizing the legal requirements to support the smooth transition to the new hospital once completed. So we're going to go through the document of the estimates of revenue and expenditure 25, and I'll highlight a few things for you here. Now we have here the first thing, the Hospital Quality Improvement Project. There was no estimates for that in 2024. And we have in 2025 estimates of $15,040,645. 15 million, right? Now we move down to the contributions to hospital and health services. And that, the estimates for 2024 were $600,000, and they only spent $26,000, $226. 600,000 was estimated, and they only spent 26,000 roughly, and they still have an estimate of 250,000 for 2025. Now, we're going through so much with health, and to see that they're not even spending on health, the allocations, it's crazy. Now, they have a regional health project, whatever that is, and 1.5 million was approved, the approved estimate or the allocation, and they've spent, the actual spent was $2,823,103 for a regional health project. Oh, I don't know what that is. I don't know, right? However, they have no allocations for 2025.
for this project. Seemed like it probably was a one-off. The amount was that they spent was doubled what they received. Then we have health sector strengthening project and 2 million for the 2024 estimates, and the actuals $130,172. Health sector strengthening project. 2 million allocated, 130,000 spent. Strategic response towards HIV, TB elimination. 120,000 allocated, 12,000 spent, 12,226 spent, right? 120,000 allocated. Construction of new medical and technical and teaching hospital, new medical and teaching hospital. There were spent zero estimated for 2024, and we have estimates for 2025, $23,575, right? 575,000, right? So that is like 23.5 million, roughly. What is that amount going to be spent on is the question. I've heard the advisor, the advisor to the government, I think he's on finance, but of course he was speaking on health here. Drawings, probably build roads, maybe equipments. Not sure what the 23.5 million is going to be on, but what we know is that the groundbreaking, as announced by the administration, is going to be in 2026. So this 23.5 million, we'll find out. We'll find out. And then they have upgrade of health facilities. In 2024, the estimates, $1 million. 175,000 was spent. Upgrade of health facilities, which is badly needed, and they themselves complain about it. You estimated $1 million allocated for that project, and you only spend $175,000. This is crazy. Let's move on. The replacement of hospital incinerator, 50,000 was allocated in 2024, zero spent, so I guess it wasn't replaced. And for the 2025 allocation is $400,000. Refurbishment of ancillary services building and a laundry phase 1, $150,000 allocated, zero spent, and another $150,000 for the 2025 budget, in the 2025 budget. Moving along. Purchase of medical furniture, 100,000 estimate allocation, zero spent. Repairs to the Carlton House, 500,000 estimate, zero spent. None estimated for 2025. Reconstruction of Guave Health Center. Reconstruction of Guave Health Center. 700,000 estimated for 2024, zero spent. Another 700,000 for 2025. Hurricane burial, 5 million estimated in 2024, 416,919. So let's say 417,000 spent from 5 million for Hurricane Beryl, right? And another 500,000 allocated for 2025. Employee compensation, $65,747,252. Actual, $58,638,379 spent. And for 2025, the allocation is $63,828,149. Supplies and materials. This one is interesting. Supplies and materials. And you hear all the time persons saying they go to the hospital, they don't even have headache pills, they don't have gauze, they don't have reagents. I mean, you just name it. $20,334,358 was allocated in 2024. 15,846,295 spent. It would have been okay if we overspent on supplies and material instead of on the spending, right? Anyways, another $16,649,180 was allocated for 2025. Hosting and entertainment. I don't know what it is, but they had $27,000 for hosting and entertainment, and they spent $4,947, but another $16,000 was allocated for 2025. Now, the Ministry of Health, and that was capital expenditure. So under recurrent expenditure by Standard Object Code, SOC, we have employee compensation. Again here, 65 million. So under the recurrent expenditure, it's the same. And we have here $65,747,252 and $58,638,379 was spent, and another $63,828,149 allocated for 2025. On the recurrent expenditure falls the same supplies and material, and that one is the same figure as under the capital expenditure as well. So the big thing here on the capital, it's the construction of the new medical and teaching hospital for $23.5 million. As I said, it's to salt breaking, salt turning, whatever you want to call it, is in 2026. And according to advisor Richard Duncan, that project, of course, it's a village, the Prime Minister said they're building, and that project is going to take the same format as the university, the SGU. Now, SGU took 50 years, 2026 is going to be 50 years since SGU started. So it took them basically 50 years to get to where they are today. So we expect, that's what we're looking forward to for our new teaching hospital. And I guess not many of us on this rock, unless you're a newborn baby, might make it through to see this teaching, this health village come to reality. But vote them back in so you can see the health village. That's what they're trying to tell us. If you really want to see it, vote us back in. Because that's the only thing they're pushing now. Well, except for oil and gas, but we're going to take oil and gas in its own show next Thursday. It's important because a lot of you was corralled down to the Trade Center. So we're going to deal with that in the next episode. The oil and gas, very important, very important. Now here's Mr. Richard Duncan, advisor to the government on financing on Project Polaris.
In being achieved. Just to segue a little bit on the big project, which is Project Polaris, the new hospital. Right, some of the quick moves that were made. So land acquisition, for example, you're talking about a hospital and so on, the first thing you got to do is to acquire the land. So early up, the government made the move, acquired the land, and has duly compensated the owner of the land. So that is in train. But now we have to conceptualize, you have to design, probably about 10,000 decisions you have to make before you even start to pour, one truckload of concrete in these massive projects. But it is in train.
Now, Project Polaris, according to the Minister of Finance, Dennis Cornwell, in his budget presentation on the 7th of March 2025, is one of the transformation projects, together with Project 500. So at least they're agreeing that there's no transformation thus far. And so on the transformation projects is Project Polaris, that is an entity at the moment, and Project 500 that is at ground zero. Added to Project Polaris and Project 500 is Project Skills, not sure what that is, and Project Renewable Energy. Those are the 4 transformational projects. Let's hear the minister as he spoke of the transformation projects.
Accelerating our transformation agenda. Mr. Speaker, the people of Grenada voted for transformation, a pivot from the failed and visionless policies of the former administration. Our bold and visionary policies to transform our nation is taking root. Many of our people are talking about Project Polaris, our new hospital project. Project 500, our innovative housing solution. Project Skills, our laser-focused plan of upskilling and retooling our workforce with relevant skills, especially our young people. And Project Renewable Energy, aimed at energy security and lowering the cost of energy. Mr. Speaker, our people once more are hopeful and are beginning to see a bright future ahead. Undoubtedly, it is on the rise, towards progress, prosperity, and unity.
Now, after almost 3 years, the 4 transformation projects, out of the 4, one just got conceived, Project 500 that is, and the other 3, the sperm is yet to reach the egg. So we're in trouble after 3 years. And they campaigned on transforming Grenada. We were going to transform the health sector, the infrastructure, we were going to transform agriculture. I mean, you name it. It was a transformational administration. Now let's hear Minister Cornwell on Project 500 in the budget.
In addition to our emergency housing recovery plan, our government is taking proactive steps to reduce the housing deficit through our major flagship initiative, Project 500. This aim to construct 500 Grenada-style on both government and private lands, creating sustainable housing solution for our people. The initiative is well on the way with a pilot project in Dunfermline, where 17 motorhomes are currently under construction. An amount of $10 million has been allocated in the 2025 budget for this continuation of this project.
17 houses on the way. So in essence, the project is now Project 17 and not Project 500. In my mind, there isn't even enough room there for 20 houses, much less 500. Now here's the Dunfermline Project 500 spoken about as being part of the transformation project. Now, it's quite obvious that we are far ways from the realization of Project 500. We've been hearing about Project 500 even before the 2022 election. And this is where we are to date. We're moving on to vote 36, Ministry of Carriacou and the Petite Martinique Affairs and Local Government, capital expenditure by project. And that is page 733 in the estimates of revenue and expenditure 25 to 27. And let me get my stuff here from the stash. Moving on to vote 36, Ministry of Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs and Local Government, capital expenditure by project, page 733 in the estimates of revenue and expenditure 2025. In the budget presentation, the minister responsible for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs was happy to announce that there was an increase in the allocation from 33.4 million in 2024 to 44 million in 2025. A clear demonstration of our commitment to the full recovery and transformation of our sister isle, according to the budget statement. Now, a lot of little things, small stuff, with little monies, 150,000, little monies. But I'm going to, as usual, speak to some items that I've highlighted. And community development projects, 193,000 was spent. 100,000 was approved, and 193,000 was spent. Petite Martinique enhancement project, 300,000 approved, 268,000 spent. Another 500,000 estimated for 2025. The Empower program in Carriacou, the Empower program, in Carriacou. $552,400 was allocated, was approved. Zero was spent. 2024 budget, zero was spent. And another 352,000 was estimated for 2025. Reviving boat building, 150,000 was approved. $5,722 spent must be for airfare and board, room and board for the gentleman they brought in from Italy, it is, to teach Caracunians how to make boat. So that $5,722 was probably spent on airfare, and it's been spent on room and board for the gentleman who came from Italy. They have another 150,000 estimated for 2025. Community self-help program. Well, I'm not sure. I thought self-help mean you help for free. That's what we used to call self-help in the days of Eric Matugeri and into the revolution, where on a Sundays the village come out to clean up. Right? The men do the cutlassing, the women do the raking and the gathering of the grass and stuff, and prepare the meal, the snacks for the men, for everybody. And we used to call that self-help. But they have here, so for the community self-help program, the approved estimates for 2024 was 300,000. And they spent $217,585, and another 300,000 approved for 2025. The house repair program, 800,000 approved in 2024. $796,214 spent, almost everything spent. And 1 million approved for 2025. Carriacou Ministerial Complex, 1.5 million approved for the 2024 estimates. 59,000 spent, and another 300,000 estimated for 2025. These figures. It's very interesting. Now, implementation of local government. The first I heard of it being implemented in Carriacou. $79,584 was approved for 2024. Zero spent. So I guess it wasn't implemented. And another 50,000 estimated for 2025. Purchase of livestock, and 20,000 approved for 2024. Zero spent, yeah, and another 20,000 estimated for 2025. A lot of money is hanging in the balance somewhere. Carriacou livestock enhancement, right? So they purchased livestock, zero was spent, but they have the enhancement. And 45,000 was approved in 2024, zero was spent as well, and another 100,000 estimated for 2025. Nursery improvement, the botanical gardens in Bel Air, 100,000 approved in 2024, $136,800 spent, and another 150,000 estimated for 2025. Carriacou Farmers Support Fund, 25,000 approved in 2024, zero spent, and another 25,000 estimated for 2025. That is for the Farmers Support Fund. They're agreeing here that zero was spent. Windward Fish Center, 500,000 approved for the 2024 estimate, 510,000 spent, and another 700,000 estimated for 2025. The rehabilitation of Petit Martinique, this one is interesting. 500,000 approved. 500, that's 2024. 500,000 spent. And another 500,000 estimated for 2025. Well, we'll have to find out from the people of Petit Martinique where that 500,000 was spent for in the rehabilitation. Then we're moving along, beautification, empowerment, sustainability, and transformation program. $1,340,125 approved. Estimates for 2024. $251,318 spent out of 1 million, 1.3 million. And another million estimated for 2025. Paradise Beach Enhancement Project, 200,000 estimates for 2025. Nothing was done. Nothing was approved actually in 2024, and nothing was spent, of course. So 200,000 approved for 2025. Whilst we're on Paradise Beach, I would like to ask the minister responsible for Carriacou affairs, and by extension, the Tri-Island State of Grenada. We would like to know why a portion of land, a lot of land on Paradise Beach was cut out and given to the NDC party. The people of Carriacou would like to know why a lot of land on Paradise Beach surveyed, cut out, and given to the NDC party. Or is it just a cover-up for someone else or something else? But why is the NDC party on Paradise Beach, our award-winning Paradise Beach? Why? You see, everything in the dark will come to light. But this is a serious question being asked by the people of Carriacou. Now, Hillsborough Development Project. Nothing in 2024, nothing spent, of course. If you have nothing, you can't spend anything. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. $300,000 estimated for 2025. Bel Air Heritage Site Enhancement Project. Nothing in 2024. $200,000 in 2025. Maintenance of schools. $200,000 approved in 2024. $4,758 spent out of $200,000 for the maintenance of schools. They had a hurricane in July. Only $4,758 spent. However, another $200,000 estimated for 2025. Hurricane Beryl response, $15 million approved for 2024. $14,567 $198. Almost all of it was spent, and another $9 million estimated for the 2025 budget, out of the 2025 budget. A grand total of $30,156,206 was estimated in 2024. $23,866,588 was spent. And estimated for 2025, another $21,672,000. Now, after Hurricane Beryl, even after Hurricane Beryl, they spent less than was approved. And quite a bit less, a significant amount less. Even with the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique hurting and crying out, they've been cutting expenditure. Did they increase the capital expenditure in Carriacou? No. Less was spent. In 2025, they allocated even less. The amount allocated in 2025 is $21 million. In 2024, $30 million was allocated. An $8.5 million cut from 2025 to 2024, $8.5 million. Something is not adding up. Seriously, something is not adding up. So even if they boast of the increase in allocation, the increase was in recurrent expenditure and not capital expenditure, which is where we want to see the increase in the capital expenditure. Vote 61, Ministry of the Blue Economy, and that is a new one. And so that is one of the new ministries, the Ministry of Blue Economy and Marine Affairs. And here is their summary. Now, before I go into the summary, let me read for you what the minister's statement in the Parliament. And he's speaking here, the Blue Economy and Marine Affairs, and he said, Mr. Speaker, Grenada's marine and coastal resources offer significant opportunities for economic growth, environmental conservation, and community resilience. To harness these assets sustainably, the government has established the Ministry of the Blue Economy and Marine Affairs to drive an inclusive and transformative agenda. The government aims to position Grenada as a regional and a global leader in sustainable ocean-based development, leveraging strategic investments, sound policies, and strong partnership to promote economic diversification, climate resilience, and innovation while enhancing livelihoods. So now we know why we now have an ambassador of the ocean. Okay? He comes out of the Blue Economy Ministry, I suppose. Key pillars for transformation include sustainable marine resource management, expanding marine protected areas to cover 30% of coastal ecosystems by 2030, reducing illegal fishing by 50% by 2027, and integrating climate adaptation into marine governance. Fisheries transformation, increasing fish production and exports by 20% by 2028 ensuring 80% of fishing households adopt climate-smart practices by 2030, and improving market access for fishers. Blue economy diversification, developing marine biotechnology, renewable ocean energy, and sustainable marine tourism, attracting 100 million in investments by 2030 and supporting 20 blue economy startups by 2027. Coastal community empowerment, strengthening community participation in marine management, boosting coastal incomes by 30%, reducing food security by 20% by 2030, and enhancing disaster resilience. Governance and institutional strengthening, building a highly competent ministry, enforcing transparency and accountability, and implementing performance-based policies. Listen to this here. An allocation of EC 36.9 million, and you need to write that down. Just write down that figure. Let me say that again. An allocation of EC 36.9 million has been made in the 2025 budget to fund various projects to drive this new engine of growth. There are more, but I'm going to stop here because this is the important point I wanted to reach to. Now, under the summary, the mission statement, the vision statement, recurrent expenditure by program, here, the grand total on the recurrent expenditure for the same vote 6-1, the Ministry of the Blue Economy and Marine Affairs, the summary. The grand total is $4,918,648. And under capital expenditure, the grand total is $2,050,000. Now, when you add those two together, I mean, let's just do the big figure. Let's say 4.9 million, let's round it off to 5 million. 5 and 2 is $7 million, according to the estimates of revenue and expenditure, right? Look at it highlighted there. So 5 and 2, $7 million. But yet for all, which is the correct figure? Which is the correct figure? The minister read an allocation of EC $36.9 million has been made in the 2025 budget to fund various projects to drive this new engine of growth under the vote 16 Ministry of the Blue Economy. But when you add up here, now we seem to be having this problem. We'll come to another one later down. We're getting $7 million on this paper, $7 million. Now, the other ministries, new ministries, there were 5 new ministries, and we have vote 52, Ministry of Mental Health and Religious Affairs, Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestries, vote 6-4, vote 6-1, Ministry of the Blue Economy, vote 15, Ministry of Tourism, the Creative Economy and Culture, vote 19, Ministry of Youth and Sports, vote 26, Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs to Community Development and Gender Affairs. So there was a change there. Vote 38, newly created Ministry of Housing. Vote 40, renamed Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture to Ministry of Education. Vote 50, renamed from Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs to Ministry of Health. Moving along. Vote 64, Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry. Summary. Let's go to the estimates here. Get my glasses. We're moving right down to the grand total. Now, the grand total approved in 2024 was $18,921,693. The amount spent, $14,984,203 under the agriculture, our food security, right? Less was spent. We're spending more on travels and entertainment, and food. That's more important than our farmers, right? And another 17,690,347 estimated for 2025. So cooperatives and fisheries was removed from the Ministry of Agriculture. Let's make that clear, right? But that only counted for 4 million in the other ministry. The recurrent expenditure, 67,315,000 in 2024, and the capital expenditure, 32,425,603 in 2025. It's $34,889,418 cut. So let's say it's 35 million, rounding it off. It's $35 million cut in agriculture from 2024 to 2025. However, yet for all, the member representing the farmers in the upper house, Senator Roderick St. Clair, stated in his budget presentation that the two budgets, 2024 and 2025, are the same. Folks, with a $34 million cut. Hear him for yourself.
As I move, Madam President, to look specifically now, outside of the linkages that I raised, the issue of the Ministry of Agriculture portfolio in this budget. See, it's a good thing I don't use technology. My computer is saying, it's cleaning something. See, everything I have paper. So we have a budget for the year on agriculture in the region of just about $32 million. Of course, fisheries, which was removed from it and joined up with marine, goes up to something about $6 million. So pretty much it's just about the same as last year. Structurally, with the fisheries component, if I may say, Madam President, fisheries and the marine resources, by and large, most of the activities that are highlighted to be completed in 2025 are basically the list of activities from 2024 that really, nothing was really done. When you look at it, for example, and some of it's telling the cultures, the Sagasum, zero money spent. And I say it could be an error because sometimes when you're doing these documents, sometimes certain things get missed out. So I say maybe it's an...
It is sometimes kind of embarrassing and very disappointing to hear the debate in the houses coming from some of the members, almost like they're not aware and they don't know what they're talking about and they're all over the place, and like they didn't take the time to read the documents, to understand the document, to get help, and nothing wrong in getting help from professionals to explain the documents to them as they come to the parliament to speak to the people they're representing, like he's representing the farmers. The member representing the business community might as well take up his things and go and sit on the side of the government with the government representative. He's not representing the business community, he's representing the NDC administration. And they're getting paid nice, well, these days for going to the house and not being able to elaborate on the documents that they receive. The Minister of Finance, Honorable Dennis Cornwall, in the lower house on Friday, the 7th of March, as he presented, spoke to a project Pristine. You know what I like about NDC? I like the names of their projects and programs and everything. Everything have lovely names. I just love it. Whoever's naming them, full marks. Full marks. Now, we have, Project Polaris. That's one good, eh? Project Polaris. The Project Pristine. Let's hear what the minister had to say on Project Pristine.
Through Project Pristine, we have largely restored the natural beauty of the Sister Isles and massive cleanup of the land and marine environment.
Now, to me, from all the information reaching me from Carriacou and everywhere, in the news and everything, I know that Project Pristine didn't sound too right. There was something wrong about Project Pristine as presented by the Minister of Finance. And then there came Senator Nolan Cox in the upper house on Tuesday, the 18th March. And according to Senator Nolan Cox, not true.
Madam President, additionally, despite repeated advice against using our playing fields to dump the debris at debris sites, this warning went ignored, Madam President. I could see when he was down in the first field, fine, you could have got away with that. And after the calls not to use the playing fields, who tell you to say that? No, they start to use playing fields self. One after the next, they just keep throwing in the playing fields. Madam President, as a result, our playing fields remain unusable and may stay that way for a while. Even after relocating some of the debris, Madam President, I just want to say that there's only one playing field, which is the mini stadium, that was not really escaped the wrath of the debris. And the reason why they escaped is because the Samaritan's Purse Field Hospital was set up at the entrance of the stadium. That is the only reason why. That's the only reason why that field get away. Trust me, Madam President, when I tell you that. Madam President, even after relocating some of the debris to Harveyville,
which has now become the main dumping site. The main dumping site, the situation remains critical. And you know, I heard that they were talking about, we ain't talking about the garbage anymore. President, people will get tired, you know. People will get tired because if I talk to you once, twice, 3 times, anytime you hear I ain't talking again, it's because I don't talk. It's because I'm fed up, Madam President. It doesn't mean that we're happy. It's just because I'm fed up. Madam President, and we hear a lot about 9 months. That was it. In 9 months, so much happened. 9 months, and then 98% of Carriacou cleanup. Madam President, I think the best use of those two thematic numbers, 9 months and 98%, I think the best way to describe it is by saying, Madam President, that's a fact. After 9 months, 98% of all the debris is still on the island. And that's a fact. All the debris is still on the island after 9 months. So, 9 months and 98%. 98% of all the debris is in both fields, Harveyville and Hillsborough Plainfield. So, Madam President, we like 9 months and 98%, so let us figure it out.
Well, so much for Project Pristine. You can easily rename this budget to the deceptive budget. You see, the deception is a staple in the day-to-day runnings of this Deacon Mitchell-led administration. Also in the budget, strengthening parliamentary representation.
Strengthening parliamentary representation. Mr. Speaker, our government remains committed to strengthen parliamentary representation and ensuring that all members of parliament are equipped to serve their constituency effectively. The goal is to provide adequate resource over time, including establishment of state-owned parliamentary offices in each constituency, providing a permanent and accessible space for constituents to engage with their elected representatives. To this end, in 2025, each constituency, as far as practical, will be outfitted with a suitable vehicle to facilitate greater mobility and outreach, ensuring that the needs of our community are met with efficiency and care.
The opposition, His Majesty position, must not allow themselves to be used like pawns by the Deacon Mitchell-led administration. All these parliamentary accolades are really for the benefit of the incumbent. However, it will be downright nasty to not do it across the board. So they're prepared to sacrifice and include the members of His Majesty's opposition. When they're sharing, they give them something. Now, I'm not sure if you understood clearly what the minister just said there. Let's pay attention to the line that said, to this end, in 2025, each constituency, as far as practicable, will be outfitted with a suitable vehicle to facilitate greater mobility and outreach, ensuring that the needs to every community are met with efficiency and care. In other words, vehicles will be bought for the different constituencies for campaigning. Now, all the love and the lust of Maurice Bishop and the revolution, it's only done conveniently. The demise of the revolution Probably the only member of that cabinet or the parliament that had their own assets, maybe a vehicle and a house, was probably Minister Bain, because his family were already wealthy. And I'm still not sure if he had owned his own house, but Minister Radix, Kenrick Radix, also come from a wealthy family. He had his own house and vehicle. The others didn't have, they were renting. They had little house with their family. Some of them had to, they went after the demise and the ones that were killed. Their family had to move back home with their parents, with their children, move into back home to their grandparents' home, in other words. They didn't have a vehicle. Their vehicle was, they were driving belonged to the ministry they were presiding over, right? If we remember in the stadium when Maurice's ex-wife said that when they looked at the house for their family, Maurice said that house was too expensive to rent with the people's money, and he crammed them up in some little rental place. My man, our new prime minister who loved Maurice so dearly, is paying $20,500 rent a month of the people's money for himself, living alone in a mansion, charging the people $20,500 a month. Now, what is that? And you're talking about putting people first? Putting yourself first. So the operative word in that statement was practicable. So if it's practicable for you to get a car, I'm hoping that it will be practicable for the opposition members to get a car. However, in my mind, the opposition members should not receive I should say, that gift of a car. They should not accept it. We need medication, we need gauze, we need a proper health care system. In the meantime, before the next 50 years, we still have to survive on this piece of rock. So while they build this medical village, the best in the Caribbean, best in the region, if not the best in the world, while we take 50 years to do so, our people health matters. Reagents in the lab for simple everyday tests we don't have. And you want to give cars so that what? What are you making sure Ron don't steal another car and sell it? He going to sell that one, and y'all wouldn't going to say nothing because you're accustomed turning blind eye to the criminal acts of your cabinet members. The NDC are arming themselves for the upcoming election, which I predict will be somewhere in the first quarter of 2026. In the 2024 supplementary budget under vote 18, I have that here in my stash. Under vote 18, 3,830,921 was allocated for vehicles, which was sent to Carriacou. Where are the vehicles now? They're not in Carriacou. Put the monies towards our healthcare. There's a 2-year-old It's been months since his family, his parents, was raising funds for him to go abroad to get treatment to save his life. Months. A gentleman passed recently. He was supposed to go to the ICU. There were no beds there, extra beds there. So he was on the ward. By the time he got to bed and went to ICU, he passed, he died. We have issues in our healthcare system as it is. Let's fix that. While we work on getting a new teaching hospital. And it doesn't have to be a village. Why it have to be new teaching hospital village? Why? People are dying. In the meantime, the members of parliament, the representatives, the parliamentarians in the lower house to open a bank account to accommodate the funds, the $10,000, remember the $10,000 that this said administration said they were going to give to constituency for constituency work. So they were asked to open an account to put the funds in an effort to have proper accountability and transparency of the funds. So the parliament, which is a good thing, they passed that through the parliament. So the parliament is who disbursing the funds to the parliamentarians. But the arrogance of our beloved Prime Minister, he's threatening to sue the parliament, I suppose, or the executive, which he's head of, and to bring the people of St. David's to protest because he has not received a penny yet from the $10,000, 3 years almost. And that is because he refused to open an account. Why you have to open an account? And I've heard it from time that in the parliament, they're all equals. My man refused to open the account and is asking for cash. Give him the cash. Let's hear.
But I pause here, Mr. Speaker, to say that I may invite the residents and the constituents of St. David's to come down to the Parliament building and to protest on their behalf, because as the Prime Minister and a Member of Parliament for St. David's, I'm yet to be paid this much talked about $10,000 constituency allowance. And it's not a laughing matter, Mr. Speaker. I want us to appreciate something. I'm the Member of Parliament for St. David's. I happen to be in the party that won the most seats and was the political leader at the time I was made the Prime Minister. There are 3 branches of the state: the Parliament, the Executive, and the Judiciary. The Executive is responsible to the Parliament. The Parliament is not responsible to the Executive. So when the Executive passed into law at last budget that a $10,000 constituency allowance should be given to an MP, Mr. Speaker, I don't need to open no bank account to get the $10,000. Whether it's $10,000 in cash, whether it's $10,000 in check, you need to give me the money so that I can represent and help support the people of St. David's. And I can account for the money, whether it's cash, whether it's check, because the same thing everybody else have to do. If I spend it, I get a receipt for it. And I notice there's talk about we appreciate it. I haven't heard a single report as to how this money has been spent by members on the other side, which they got. 10 by 12 is 120,000. We're going into the 15th month. But they ain't come in and say how they spend the money. The Speaker may have it, but account to your people. Explain to them what you've done with the $10,000 that the Parliament passed into law and said you will get it. So for the record, I have not received any funding to support my constituents in St. David. And all of what I've done here is through the kind support and generosity of the private sector, international partners, individuals in the constituency, people in the diaspora, and in many cases, the Prime Minister's salary, which goes directly into supporting the constituents of St. David. So I am saying, Mr. Speaker, since my name is Susu, in my capacity as a member of parliament, if I have to sue the executive to get me $10,000, I will sue the executive on behalf of the members of St. David. And time is money, so I hope there's an interest component of it.
Nobody don't have to report to you what they did with the money. They're reporting to who they have to report to. You said it. They must be reporting to the speaker, not the speaker, the clerk of parliament. They're reporting to who they have to report to. You're out of order too much. You're all going overboard now. Open the bank account and let the people put the money for you. And that's a simple thing. Stop the arrogance. And stop showing the narcissist behavior. It's not good. It's not good for the young ones as they look on. It's not good for the young ones. So this is where we come to the end of this segment. And we'll take a quick break and come right back to our current affairs. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode. Folks, we're quickly running out of time as per usual. And so I have to leave out a lot of the current affairs that I was going to take to you, but next week it's almost there. What I say? What miss you in pass you, or what pass you and miss you? Something so. I think what miss you in pass you. Some of you might have seen this video that I'm about to show you. And like me, when I saw it, I thought, wow, good initiative. Although it was again in the St. David's area, and the St. David's factor, everything has been done in St. David's, where the Prime Minister spoke of opening up farm roads in Mardi Gras, the St. David side, of course, to allow for easy access to the farms, the farmers to their farms.
This is the Mardi Gras Farm Road that we're opening up. As you can see, work has started. We expect that it will give an opportunity for increased agriculture. Everything from bamboo cultivation to citrus to all of the traditional spices. Goat farming, there's a goat pen put up. Where a returning national has been trying to get the goat farm going for a while, but because of the road, he hasn't been able to expand his production. So we're here to try and get this done. It's a significant road, and we believe once we complete it, we will completely open up the area for enhanced agricultural production. So to the farmers of Grenada, one road at a time, we will get them. As you can see, bridge work has started, and we're hoping that we can get the road completed. It's a pretty long road. I don't have the exact length of it, but I'll get it. We're hoping that the road can be completed so that we can have proper access by the farmers and the landowners up in the city. As you can see, it's a proper bridge. 2 vehicles can pass, even in the farm. So to the people of Mardi Gras, I'm in the farm roads first, checking out the farmers, and then I'll come and visit you next week.
You see, when you're making up stories as you go along, it's a hell of a thing. They're farming bamboo in Mardi Gras now. Bamboo. To help the farmers farm bamboo, the road. He didn't know the length of the road because the road don't concern the government of Grenada. So he don't know the length of the road. But the government of Grenada is doing the road. So when you watch the clip, what do you think? Nice, eh? According to them in Jamaica, nice, eh? Nice. Right? Nice movie. Nice little movie there. The member from Fort St. David is making sure the farmers are well looked after. Or are they? Folks, the development of that road has absolutely nothing to do with the farmers or farm roads. There are no longer any farmers, any farming done up in the mountain where that road leads. Now, along the way, the lands were sold to a developer who lives in New York. I think still lives in New York. Now, for the facts. There is a private developer who came from New York, bought up lots of lands in the Mardi Gras area, where the Prime Minister is speaking of there, where they're supposed to be farmers, where the so-called farm road leads to. The private developer is now selling lots to create a development. The government, our government, is using taxpayers' money, our revenue, to develop the road, that so-called farm road, towards the effort, the private developer. The Prime Minister, in his video, said the roads are being developed for the expansion of agriculture, which is the biggest joke for the residents in that area. Speaking to a few of them, residents that is, they say, plain old, the video is a lie. I had the privilege of listening to and looking at a video made by one of the residents in the area. Oh, how I wish I could have shared that video with you. It had lots of obscenities, which we could have bleeped. But besides that, publishing the video would compromise the individual and probably jeopardize their livelihood. The video content, horrific. When you see and hear what this individual had to say. The people would like to know from the Prime Minister, who are the farmers in the mountain, in Mardi Gras, where that road leads to. He himself said, it's a long road. He don't know the footage. He doesn't know how long the road is because it doesn't concern him. The road is going up to the mountain where this private individual has his development. Folks, question. Just to say here that I plan on writing to the Integrity Commission, the FIU, the Ministry of Finance, to the attention of the Permanent Secretary, copied to the Minister of Finance on the corruption inside the Ministry of MIT. We can't just have monies being spent. Call down people, bring your ID card, go to the bank, change a check for 15,000, take 5 and bring back 10. Who taking 10 and bring back 10 when they tell them change a check for 20, take 5, they take 10 and they bring back. What is this? Is this a country we run in here? Is this play? Is this Play-Doh? Is this Monopoly? What is this? We cannot, and we will not let it rest. It will not go away. You could bring down 1,500 in the Trade Center to talk about oil and gas. The corruption remains inside MIT elsewhere as well. And if you think we forget about the lottery and so, we have forget. We've been busy with all the other corruptions. It will not go away. This one, we need a report on. These monies where the extra money is going. When they bring it back to MIT, what happens to that money? What happens? We need to know. We need to know. Also, to the Prime Minister, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, the people want to know what we have to do to get your attention on the corruption in the different ministries, in the different entities, just to see how about the $100,000, the bribe monies that Andy received from that Minister Andy Williams received from the contractor of the Cliff Road project. Now, I had a full story to bring for y'all on the comics that went into the people's house, and it's the same vehicle that killed the young man in True Blue. But you'll get a full story on it next week. Running out of time. The only thing left for Minister Andy Williams to do is to rob a bank at gunpoint. And you keep turning a blind eye. Bounce checks, all when he was in office, that's a crime. We're sending young people to jail. Actually make jail time for writing bounce check. And we have a minister of government. We had a minister of government whose name was on the list in the government financial collection offices where you go to pay. Minister Andy Williams' name was up on that list. You all scramble and take it down when people start talking about it. This is a gentleman that you leave to run this country when you're up in the clouds. He spent more time as Prime Minister of Grenada than you. Oh God, I don't have no. So all you do us or what? We're embarrassed. We are embarrassed. And everybody had to go to Minister Andy. All ministers, everybody, you said, go to Minister Andy. As crooked as a corkscrew. If he stand up behind one, you can't see him. What have the people of Grenada have to do for you to run some kind of investigation and come to us and say, those things, all those things said about Minister Andy is not true? And then we bring the facts, we have the receipts, we have the tapes. We bring the gentlemen who are ready and willing to speak out if need be. Well, they spoke to me. But if you want, we could set up a meeting, Prime Minister. Prime Minister, where are you with the investigation concerning the corruption inside the National Lottery Authority? Hey, Cindy and William, all I thought we'd forget, all I get a break. Oh, no, not so quick. Not so fast. Because now I'm hearing that you all are paying who's supposed to be the tutor in the skills training school, the $200,000 skills training school that was not in progress, not for one second of a day. But we're paying the tutor and we're paying rent for the space on Scott Street. Sydney and William Baptiste write a check for $200,000 and sign it for themselves to open a skills training school. So now I'm not sure who the skills training school was belonging to. Whether it's Lotto, whether it's Mr. William Baptiste, whether it's the government of Grenada. Where are you, Prime Minister, with that investigation? You did say you was going to investigate yourself. You fired the messenger. And Mr. William Baptiste and Miss Cindy Henry is sitting high and dry within the walls of the National Lottery Authority. Monies that can go towards, and I'll say it again, the General Hospital. Lot 3, nation building. The young toddler, the 2-year-old, that's fighting for his life. All these extra monies from the lottery that went into the pockets of Mr. William Batiste. The $295,000 overrun for the Victoria Park. We ain't forget. We're going to make a billboard come election time. Not one. We probably put a billboard in every parish. We're not going to forget it. Folks, that's a wrap on today's episode of Simon Says. It's always a pleasure conversing with you, keeping them honest, or we certainly tries. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. I'm your host, Jenny Simon. See you next week, same time, same place, where a lot more interesting current affairs. And of course, we drill in for oil. Bye now. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.